Students, today I am going to discuss the discovery of proton, which was made by Goldstein in 1886. The same discharge tube, but mode of experiment is different. Somewhat it is modified, and this is the perforated perforated cathode, and high voltage like 10,000 volts is applied, and pressure is reduced to 10 power minus 4 atmospheres. The rays are set. These rays appear to come out from the surface of anode and squeezing, passing through the pinholes of cathode. Hence, these are called canal rays. These are said to be the canal rays since they pass through these small canals. Here, the gas like hydrogen gas, which is placed first, it undergoes splitting of hydrogen atoms. Hydrogen atoms undergo ionization after taking energy, which is in the form of voltage applied, H plus and electron. Here electron stream are also there, but with this setup we are unable to see those rays. But the positively charged particle, since they are coming from this end to this end, positive end to the negative end, means they are attracted towards the cathode, means they should have the positive charge. This is verified by placing the electric field, also magnetic field. If electric field is placed, they bend towards the negative charge plate, indicating that they should have the positive charge. Now, those positive say, and again, if opaque body is placed here in this path, shadow is formed again. They are traveling in straight path, and if they are allowed to fall on the zinc sulfide screen, a zinc sulfide screen shines. That is the fluorescence. It shines. Scintillations are noticed whenever they fall on the screen, zinc sulfide screen. Shining nature is noticed, and the particle nature can also be inferred while placing small wheel, paddle or wheel is placed in the path. It gets rotated, shows the mechanical property, the particle behavior. Now this particle behavior, these are the particle rays, stream of particles. These positively charged particles, in the case of hydrogen atom, it has only one electron, one proton. The proton is nothing but the H plus ion. These are the stream of protons. And the charge to mass ratio was found to be 9.54 in 10 power 4 coulomb per gram, and from which the means 9.54 into 10 power 4 coulombs is associated with 1 gram, and as you know, charge of proton, charge of electron, both are found to be same, 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. We are getting 1.672 into 10 power minus 24 grams. This is the mass of the proton. So if you use some other gas like helium gas, the positively charged particles nature is different. They are not the protons. See that helium has 2 electrons. First ionization, electron is removed. In the second step, He plus ions undergo further ionization, resulting this. The positively charged particles are these. The E by M ratio naturally different from gas to gas. That is the difference between the cathode rays and anode rays. These are the anode rays. Anode rays. That is the basic distinction between the cathode and anode rays. In the case of cathode rays, E by M ratio is same irrespective of the gas used in the discharge tube. Here E by M ratio is different because of the positively charged particle nature. The mass is different, charge is different. E by M ratio depends on the nature of gas is used. Only in the case of simplest one, that is hydrogen gas, is used, the positively charged particles are nothing but the protons. Goldstein used the hydrogen gas in which the protons were found. Those are in the form of rays. These anode rays are the stream of positively charged particles. So protons were discovered by this method, and so far electron, proton, both are the part of the atom. While taking the hydrogen gas as the simplest case, it contains one electron, one proton, and number of protons present in the atom differs from gas to gas. Now, with this background, first atomic model was proposed by Thomson himself, that is Thomson's atomic model. This was the first model. He attempted to explain the electrical neutrality of the atom. The very basis of this proposal is to explain the electrical neutrality of atom. Atom is electrical neutral, but in which positively charged particle like electron, negatively charged particle like electron, positively charged particle proton, both are present. And mass of electron, as you know, 9.11 into 10 power minus 28 grams. Mass of proton, 1.672 into 10 power minus 24 grams. While taking this is the proton, while taking the proton to electron mass of proton to mass of electron, we're getting 1.672 into 10 power minus 24 by 9.11 into 10 power minus 28. We are getting nearly 1837. Compared to electron mass, proton mass is quite higher, 1837 times. So electron is quite minute in nature. Keeping in view of this, he proposed this model. Two aspects. One is to explain the electrical neutrality and mass ratio of these two particles, 1837. These two informations were the basis for proposing the model. He said atom is spherical, entire mass is said to be made up of the proton, hence this is the positive background. Reason for mentioning the positive background is mass of the proton is quite higher compared to the electron mass, assuming that almost entire mass of the atom is made up of the protons only, hence he mentioned positive background. And electrons, very minute in nature, they are scattered or embedded. These are electrons. Electrons are embedded or scattered in the entire mass of the proton, just as seeds of watermelon fruit. Seeds of watermelon fruit scattered in the entire red portion of fruit. So this proposal clearly explains that to neutralize the charge, and ultimately the electrical neutrality is explained. So atom is spherical, that is, everybody knows that spherical objects are stable because of having minimum surface area. That was the reason. And keeping in view of this mass ratio and electrical neutrality, the first atomic model was proposed. This biggest mistake of the model is the electron as well as the proton are said to be static in nature. That static charged particles like electron, proton cannot explain the inherent electric and magnetic field of the atom matter as a whole. Inherent electric field and magnetic field of the atom, in particular matter as a whole, cannot be explained. That is a fundamental mistake here. And he attempted to explain the electrical neutrality, that much only. Now the total mass, one more difficulty here is the total mass of the atom cannot be explained only on the basis of protons. Protons he considered as the only mass particles, but some other particles are expected to exist. So this was the discovery of neutron. Made by Chadwick in 1932. So his experimental setup was quite different. This is from the nuclear bombardment process, taking the experimental setup like this. Here wooden box is placed in which the radioactive substance is placed, and here the alpha emitter, that too. As you know, the radioactive substances are alpha as well as the alpha or beta emitters. Now the alpha emitter like radium or polonium may be taken as a radioactive substance, and here it emits the alpha particles. As you know, alpha particle is the doubly ionized helium nucleus, doubly ionized helium atom or helium nucleus, that we can say nuclide or nucleus. When it has the 2 units positive charge particle, there is a charge counter. This is a charge counter. Once these charge, any type of charge particles, once these charge particles are allowed to fall on this, there is a diffraction. That clearly indicates that charge particles are falling on this counter. So that is the first observation from this experimental setup. Now the same experimental setup same radioactive substance. Here beryllium sheet is taken. Beryllium foil is placed in between. Naturally the alpha rays, what we can see here, alpha rays. Here there is no deflection in the charge counter, indicating that either these charged particles, alpha rays, might be completely absorbed with the beryllium, or some other particles it is ejecting. Now, in the third experimental setup, a very peculiar observation was noticed. Same beryllium sheet. Here, paraffin wax was placed. Again, there is a deflection in the charge counter. This is the paraffin wax. Paraffin wax, and there is a deflection in the charge counter, indicating that some charged particles are falling here. That inference we can draw means some other invisible particles which might be neutral in nature are there in between beryllium and the paraffin wax. Then the mechanism was, this is the nuclear bombardment process. Here the alpha particles, beryllium 4 and 9, and alpha particles, this is a helium particle. When it is this alpha particle, fast moving alpha particle, is bombarding with this helium, from which neutral particles are emitted. These are the neutral particles. These are the neutral particles called neutrons. Neutron rays, neutral in nature. And you can see that here the 6 carbon, this is 12, 13. Now in the next case, in the paraffin wax also has carbon atoms. These fast moving particles which are ejected here, which are called ejectiles. Another nuclear bombardment process takes place here. Proton is emitted. This is a 5, boron 11, 12. Yes, so here such nuclear process takes place. Here one element is transformed to the another element in this nuclear bombardment process. That is called transmutation of elements. Transmutation. Elements. It means one element can be transformed to the another element. That's how only the natural occurring elements are only 90. Remaining all elements up to the atomic number 118 are man-made elements by this nuclear bombardment process. Hence, it is called transmutation. Anyway, that is a different discussion. Now here the neutrons were discovered, neutral in charge. Neutral in charge, it is represented as the subscript as 0, means 0 charge, and so superscript as 1, that is the mass number. Its mass is almost equal to the proton mass. From the 3 particles, electron, proton are said to be the electron, proton, neutron are said to be the subatomic particles, which are also said to be elementary particles or fundamental particles of atom and matter as a whole. So this is the 5.4 into 10 power minus 4 mu atomic mass unit. So this is the 1.677 6.007 mu atomic mass unit. 1.008665 mu. So this in terms of mu. As you know, 1 mu atomic mass is 1.6 into 10 power minus 24 grams. We can express this into the grams. Charge is the mass particle. Here charge is the 1 unit negative charge, 1 unit positive charge, neutral in nature. So there are some other particles, mesons, neutrino, positron, all other number of 30 odd particles so far discovered, all cannot be considered as the fundamental particles. Only these three particles are considered as the fundamental particles. So with this we can move on to the next historical aspect of the atomic structure is the Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment. Rutherford around the year 1911 and his students Marsden and Geiger Rutherford alpha scattering experiment. I said in 1911, Marsden and Geiger, both are his students. They were conducting some experiments with reference to passing of the alpha particles through different metallic foils. That was the purpose of conducting experiment. Under his supervision, these two scientists conducted the experiment. One experimental setup was this. This is a completely evacuated chamber. Yes. As just now we have seen, alpha source, alpha particle source, alpha emitter, radioactive substance. Radioactive substance with the polonium. These alpha particles are allowed to pass through the pinhole of the evacuated chamber, in which very thin gold foil of nearly 10 power minus 4 mm thickness. Any other metal can be used, but why was this metal selected? Highly malleable nature. We can make into very thin sheet. And once the alpha particles are allowed and passing on to the metallic gold foil, and what was observed, this is the zinc sulfide screen, inside zinc sulfide screen. Alpha particles, wherever they are falling, it changes, sparking is noticed. That sparking can be noticed on this end, and most of the alpha particles are falling on this end without deviating any angle of the alpha particles. Some are deviating with the greater than 90 degrees, less than 90 degrees. 3 distinct observations were made with this experiment. Those 3 distinct observations, most of the alpha particles are passing through gold foil without any deviation, which is nearly 99%. 99% of the alpha particles are passing without any deviation of their original path. And the second observation was nearly 1% of alpha particles are passing with some angle of deviation. That angle of deviation may be more than or less than 90 degrees. Nearly one nearly 1% alpha of alpha particles are deviating from their original path. This is the second observation. Third observation was, if the experiment is conducted 20,000 times, means same experiment is repeated 20,000 times, out of 20,000 of alpha particles are falling, out of 20,000 alpha particles, one alpha particle may rebound, taking 180 degrees deviation, 180 degrees angle deviation. These were the three distinct observations from these observations, the inferences we have to draw. Now, what could be the reason for this type of observation? Supposing if this element, gold element, in which atoms are present, and those atoms look like Thomson's model, what is expected? Entire alpha particles should have passed without any angle of deviation. And many of you may not agree. Say 10% of alpha particles are deviation are expected. That is not the case, since this is a fast moving alpha particle having momentum, cannot stop the stationary single charged particle, positively charged particle, if they are really spread in the entire mass of the atom. Each proton cannot deflect the fast moving alpha particle. That is not the case. What is expected really, if Thomson's model were the correct model, entire alpha particles might have passed without having any angle of deviation. So that was not the structure of the atom. That type of inference first we can get it. So what we can expect that fast moving doubly units positively charged particle, alpha particles, might be interacting with the concentrated mass concentrated part of the atom is expected within the atom. That might be the nucleus, where all the positively charged particles might be concentrated. So, as you know, thickness in 10 power minus 4 means limited number of atomic layers are expected. Say maybe 4 or 5 layers. They may be in this manner of arranging, and here the alpha particles are passing through this. If the positively charged particle like this, entire alpha particles are expected to pass, but that is not the case. There might be charge concentration, positively charged concentration. Forget about the negatively charged particles, those are the electrons. Those are the less mass, very, very less mass particles, the positively charged particles. So the mass particles might be concentrating at one part, may be called nucleus. So this part is nearly 1%, remaining part is, say, maybe empty or vacuum, unoccupied space. That much unoccupied space is expected from these results, 99%. And 1% is only occupied by the mass particles, uh, protons. Neutrons are also mass particles, and which are nothing to do with this type of observations. Probably they are somewhere present. Then later on we'll come to know that. If the alpha particles are moving in this direction, there is no deflection. Once they come in the vicinity of this, there is a possibility having repulsions, positive repulsions, then we can expect the angular deviation. If this is the rarest chance. Rarest chance means alpha particle moving in the line of this part, nucleus, and having head-on collision, there might be strong, very strong repulsions resulting bouncing of the alpha particle. So this we can further understand while drawing the single atom where these are the positively charged particle. Here you see that if alpha particle is moving, no deflection, no deflection, no deflection, there is no deflection, no deflection, there is no deflection. There is a chance of having some deflection, there is a chance of having some deflection, there is a strong deviation like this. So this type of atomic structure is expected from these observations. So inferences from these observations, from this explanation are inferences. One, there might be highly mass concentrated part which has part in which positively charged particles embedded. Embedded means very closely packed. This is the one inference we can draw from these observations. Electrons most of the atom's space is empty, which is nearly 99%. Nearly 1% of atom space is occupied. The boundary of the atom is made with electrons. how do we come to conclude with the fourth inference that electrons which are there and atom is neutral and electrons which are present along with the protons, definitely the boundary cannot be explained. So hence electrons are not part of the positively charged particles portion. These four inferences were drawn from the observations, and based on this Rutherford proposed model, atomic model. And before going to discuss the postulates of Rutherford, we will be further convinced ourselves that the nucleus is the part of the atom which is very, very densest part of the atom, where entire mass is concentrated at that part, and boundary of the atom is quite high. Typical nucleus size was 10 power minus 13 centimeters. Typical atom size is 10 power minus 8 centimeters. This is a typical atom radius, typical nucleus size. This is from different experimental source. Now when you take the 10 power minus 13, what you will get? 10 power 5. Means nuclear size, the atom size is quite bigger compared to the nucleus. So if this is the atom and nucleus is only the part, so 1 lakh times greater atom size. Nucleus size is so small, and this can be further explained that taking the magnified view of this idea, then you can understand that the very minute nature of the nucleus. Say, taking these dimensions, if the nucleus is considered to be this fist, or say a cricket ball size, whose radius is nearly 3 centimeters, cricket ball radius size, where this is the boundary where electron is expected to present, and what is the distance of this magnified view? Nearly 3 kilometers. This fist is the nucleus. Electron is somewhere, that is the boundary part, somewhere around 3 kilometers from here. So in between this fist and the boundary part, number of alpha particles can be passed without having any deviation. And in that way it is justified that the entire mass of the atom's mass, entire mass of the atom is concentrating at one part, that is the densest part. This is the nuclear model, first nuclear model, and the postulates based on this, the model was proposed, the nuclear model, Rutherford's model was proposed, Rutherford's atomic model, Rutherford's atomic model, the postulates are quite obvious. What could be the postulates? One is entire mass of the atom is concentrating at one part called nucleus. Entire mass of the atom concentrates at one part called nucleus. Naturally, the densest part, this is the densest part. Two, electrons. This is the electrons revolving nature he mentioned, that is nothing to do with the experimental observation. But out of his intuition or some other information, he mentioned electrons revolve around nucleus in and given, or you put in this way. Electrons revolve around the nucleus similar to planets revolving around the sun. Electrons are said to be planetary electrons, and the model is said to be planetary model. So these are the postulates, and then yes, we can appreciate that the discovery of neutron, revolving nature of electrons, but not explaining and not comparison with the planetary system itself is wrong. Planets are non-charged bodies. Here electron, proton, atomic particles are the charged bodies. How can we compare? Comparison itself is wrong. That's how when a charged particle revolving around opposite charged particle, it undergoes acceleration. This is from electrodynamics what we expect. According to electrodynamics, if a charged particle revolving around opposite charged particle, the electron, right? Opposite charged particle, this nucleus, it undergoes acceleration and loses energy continuously, ultimately falls into the nucleus within 10 power minus 8 seconds while taking the spiral path. This is expected within 10 power minus 8 seconds, but atom size remains same. Any object size remains same in which atoms are present. Atom size is not shrinking. Size of any object is not shrinking as time passes. That is against to the observation. One more thing is, when it is losing energy continuously, it emits the light energy. Always electromagnetic radiation is emitted. If the emitted light is analyzed, we suppose to get the continuous spectra, since continuously it is emitting the energy. But always atoms give the discontinuous line spectra. These two things are contradictory. Then finally we say that the stability of the atom cannot be explained with the insufficient postulates made by the Rutherford. So next aspect we'll discuss while going to the Bohr's theory.